I want you to know that you've come to the end of your emotional belief. You've come to the very end of your neurological network. And there's only one of two things to do. One is to return back and pick something mundane that's going to preoccupy your mind so you don't have to go any further into the unknown. Or the other is to just trust that you can go a little further. Now, if you trust that you can go a little further, then all of those thoughts are just thoughts in your head that you have to create coherence around. So if you stopped and you said, I am going to master this moment. Forget about going anywhere, doing anything, following instructions. I'm just going to work with my body to get it back into the present moment and continue to unfold back into possibility. Here's my question. If you turned that battleship around that's greater than that program, and you are in hot pursuit of your own freedom, and your brain and your personality is beating you up, I've had those moments. And you know what? It's David and Goliath. It has always seemed bigger than me because I've given it so much of my attention and so much of my energy. It is bigger than me. But when I no longer pay attention to it, just like not giving my power to it, now I can settle myself back into the present moment, and it's just a thought. And I examine that thought, I look at it, and I become very familiar and conscious of it. And then my brain will say, well, what about this? You did this wrong. It's too late. Give up. And then I address that thought. Now, here's my question. 45 minutes of doing battle with your personality and continuously choosing love and unfolding deeper into it. If you make the effort to disinvest your attention and energy out of Goliath and pull energy back to you, is it possible that the next meditation that you have could be the easiest meditation for you to connect? Is it possible? Meditation is all about getting beyond your body, getting beyond the people and things and places in your environment, and getting beyond time. There's only three things you care about. Your body, like I got to put attention on my body because I may get eaten. Where in my environment am I going to go? What's the best route to take? And your attention is on that beast because it's chasing you. And time, like you're preoccupied with time. I only got a short amount of time to do this. So 70% of the time people live in aroused states because of the hormones of stress. So they believe they're their body because that's where all their attention is. They believe that their identity is connected to people and objects and things and places because that's what makes up our environment. And of course, people are always trying to predict the future based on the past, and they're never in the present moment. So the very hormones of stress heighten our senses, cause us to become materialists, and we narrow our focus on the danger. That means then, the more the emotional reaction you have to that email, the more you'll pay attention to the person who sent it. And if you place your attention on that person, you're giving your power away to that person because that's where your attention is. So by you breaking free from your emotional reaction, you disinvested your attention, and now you broke the refractory period of that emotion. Some people will do that for days, right? And it'll turn into a mood and then a temperament. So why meditation, to answer your question? Because meditation is all about getting beyond your body, getting beyond the people and things and places in your environment, and getting beyond time. And if you can forget about your body, you become nobody. If you forget about the people in your life, you become no one. If you forget about the things you own, you're nothing. And if you're not thinking about where you need to go or where you're sitting, you're in nowhere. And if you're not thinking about time, you're in no time. And that's the moment you're no longer putting any of your attention on anything material. And now you pure consciousness, and that is the moment you start walking through the door to the quantum field. And you can't enter the quantum field as a somebody. So point number one. The purpose of meditation is to get beyond yourself. Point number two, the purpose of meditation is to get beyond that analytical mind of yours. And what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. So 5% of your conscious mind is made up of things like logic and reasoning and will, and your subconscious mind is made up of all these habits and behaviors and unconscious emotional reactions and beliefs that pretty much we do on a daily basis until it becomes a skill or a habit.
You have the power to raise your own energy and serve the world. Stay here and we will reveal the secret to awake your true power in the next part.
When we're looking at a person's brain in real time when they're going through some type of change or transformation, you see this massive amount of disorderliness going on in the brain. Like the person is really losing their mind. All the circuitry is coming unglued. There's all this cognitive dissonance taking place. That's the moment they want to quit. That's the moment they want to give up. That's the moment they don't believe in anything. They believe in themselves. That is the prime moment where change takes place right there, because that's the end. They're on the edge there. So it's important for people to understand that if you're going about living every single day in the familiar life that you're living in, and you don't have a vision of the future, then you'll continue to live in routine. And if you wake up every morning and you do the same thing as you did the day before, over time your body's going to be on autopilot. And it's going to drag you into a predictable future based on what you did in the past. And many people lose their free will to a bunch of programs. So then when you sit down and you become conscious of your unconscious thoughts, when you're in the program, you're unconscious, right? So the moment you become conscious of that thought, you're no longer the thought. You're observing the thought, and you begin to objectify your subjective self. You start pulling out of the unconscious program, and consciousness, awareness is the first step to do that. And so many people don't want to light a match in a dark place, because all of a sudden, when they decide to be defined by a vision of the future, they're stepping out of the known. You're going to hear, I can't. It's too hard. It's not going to work. What about this? And those are the thoughts that are standing in the way between that person and that vision. And it has to come up. And if a person has been in the habit of unconsciously complaining and making excuses and feeling sorry for themselves and judging other people, that's their habit. The moment they become conscious of it, now they're out of the bleachers and they're on the field, right? Because now you have to not let that thought slip by your awareness unnoticed. And then if you're living in guilt or suffering or pain or unhappiness, but you live that way every day and it just feels like you, and all of a sudden you become aware, oh my God, I've been guilty for the last 10 years. I didn't even know it. It just felt like me. You're starting to separate yourself from your biology. And so you have to go through the process of unlearning before you relearn. And that 95% of who we are, that is what's stopping us from stepping into a new future. So then if people then are waking up every single day, think about this, the brain is a record of the past. If you wake up every morning and you start thinking about your problems, and your problems are just memories that are etched in your brain that are connected to certain people and problems and certain objects and things and certain times and places, the moment you start remembering your problems, you're thinking in the past, right? And if every one of those problems has an emotion associated with it, and you start feeling bad or unhappy, now your body's in the past. So thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of your body. And how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So most people then, they start their day in the familiar past. Then they get up and they run through a routine series of behaviors, and their body's now habituated on autopilot into a predictable future. That's the known. So the familiar past, the predictable future are both the known. There's only one place where the unknown exists, and that's the